to today's Living Word with Pastor Arlene.
Today, let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10. Now, we have seen how we get into temptations, tests, and trials, how we're to labor to enter into the rest of Jesus, his finished works, that God didn't bring that temptation, test, and trial, that we're to count it all joy when we enter into these temptations, tests, and trials. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10, it says, well, let's read verse 9. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. How did they tempt Jesus? How did they tempt God? It says, neither murmur, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. God didn't destroy them, but they opened themselves up to Satan. They sold themselves out. They tempted God. They spoke against him, saying, you've just brought us out here to let us die in the wilderness. Well, here's a case of, in the beginning of this week, when we looked at temptation, tests, and trials, we're to count it all joy because we know that Jesus already defeated Satan for us. We know to keep our eyes on Jesus, and the only way we will fall in the temptation and do it is if we are self-centered and look at ourselves and think we're so great and we're so strong. The Bible also tells us, he that thinks they can stand, take heed, lest you fall. So what's the opposite of counting it joy? Murmuring, complaining. Why did God let this happen? Why is this happening to me? Why did God do this? And start blaming God for your problem, which the Israelites did. They started blaming God. Instead of seeing that the victory was already given to them, they just had to walk in and possess it. Today, when you enter temptations, tests, and trials, count it all joy, knowing that Jesus suffered the same thing you're going through, and he came out the other end victorious. You also can be victorious by focusing on Jesus, counting it all joy, realizing Satan's defeated, and put down your own selfish desires and look to God. He will get you everything you need. Everything they had need of was in the promised land. Houses and vineyards, everything they needed. But they still thought God was out to destroy them. God's not taken from you. He's trying to get to you. So this weekend, remember, count it all joy and rejoice in the Lord always. And Paul said, again I say, rejoice. Zero murmuring. Thank you for joining us this week.